And we're back live on your number one sports podcast, All Things Sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, joined by your host, Wade Julian, and co-host Big Kev Shot It. Winter's breaking. The madness is here. Let's get to the real in sports. NFL free agency running rampant right now. Russ won't be in Atlanta, like I predicted. T. Higgins wants out of Cincinnati. But before any of that, Saquon Barkley takes the little drive down from MetLife Stadium down to Lincoln Financial. We'll be dressing up as a Philadelphia Eagle this coming season in a contract that's $26 million guaranteed. Is it Super Bowl or bust in Philadelphia at this point, June?
I don't think so. I mean, the NFL is in a tough spot right now. Not in a tough spot, but like it's a very competitive league. And so for me to go into this season thinking that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be the team, especially coming off of, that horrid 7-8 game stretch to end the season last year, I wouldn't put that much pressure on them. I do think that they do need to win their division. They do need to make some noise, and there should be some sort of urgency and some expectancy from the fan base for sure. But just from the outside looking in, I wouldn't consider this year like a win or bust season. I think the Eagles making it back to the Super Bowl would be a big thing. Like they won in 2018, they went last year and then, or 2 years ago and now, and they lost in the wild card this year. Obviously, they want to win a playoff game next year. That's kind of their goal. But again, I'll just reiterate from an outside perspective, not as a fan of the Eagles, I wouldn't consider this like the Eagles season they have to win.
What I want to know is how is it that every offseason the Eagles find more money? Because it's like the salary cap does not exist for the Philadelphia Eagles. They signed Barkley, they signed Bryce Huff, and now they're also looking to sign Xavier McKinney. I just don't understand because it seems like every year they make a big splash in free agency or the trade market and then extend somebody. So what they're doing with the salary cap needs to be studied by teams because they clearly just have money to spend and the salary cap does not matter to them.
Yeah.
Um, so that being said, yes, I absolutely do think it's Super Bowl or bust. Coming off of a very disappointing season where you got to the Super Bowl and you remember Sirianni after they beat Kansas City in the regular season going at the fans and yelling at them about, winning that regular season game after they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Um, you got to get back, especially if you're Sirianni. You can't go one and done or you're probably out of there. Um, and one and done, I mean, like making the playoffs and then not winning a playoff game, like Julian just said. You definitely got to win the playoff game this year. Sirianni is probably looking for employment next season. And in my opinion, with the amount of money they're spending and the amount of moves that they're looking to make, definitely Super Bowl or bust. But to be fair, I think Philadelphia Eagles fans think every year is Super Bowl or bust. So
Yeah. And it's fair. It's fair to say, I don't think it's like you're crazy to think that. And I might be a little crazy to think that it's not Super Bowl or bust. And again, your point that you're making as far as them spending the money, moving draft capital and getting guys in good spots, like you're right. And I do think there's a sense of pressure. There's a sense of urgency for them to win. But I mean, we got the Chiefs, we got the Bills. The Bengals are going to be back in better next year. I know EP hates to hear that. Teams like the Texans
They'll
and
be
the
back,
Colts
all right.
have emerged. The Jaguars are a threat. It'd be interesting to see what a Chargers team with a new head coach can do. I just think that the league is full of talent. The NFC, if you want to talk about the NFC, I mean, the Lions are going to have a great chance and opportunity to run it back. Baker Mayfield and that same Buccaneers team that, knocked this Philly team out is going to be competitive. And so there's a few teams in the way that I don't just say, like going from last year into this past season that just happened, I would, 100%. Eagles need to make it back to the Super Bowl. They should beat everybody, like they got to get off to a good start. They shouldn't be. No. After what I saw and like who they truly showed they got work to do. And I'm not going to put Super Bowl on that team. I kind of feel a little crazy. And so, again, to Kev's point, the fact that they're spending all that money and doing everything they're doing in free agency to get the right group of guys, that's where his pressure comes from. And I can agree with that. But based on what I saw them do and how they performed under their coach right now, I don't think that's a Super Bowl team.
That's fair. I also think the biggest, maybe not the biggest. I might be just joking a little bit, but I did want to touch on the irony of Tiki Barber calling out Saquon Barkley when Tiki kind of left the Giants high and dry too. So I don't know. It was a little weird for me. I like that Saquon clapped back at him and didn't let him just get away with that. So shout out to Saquon.
That Tiki clapback was actually very entertaining. I was like, I like that. I like that energy in sports. I'm not gonna hold you. That shit is refreshing. You know what I mean?
I guess speaking of Saquon, right? I mean, shit. Giants lose out on their running back, goes to Philly. I hate to take the floor, E, but
No, you're
this
good.
sparked a lot of news and controversy today. There was a lot of hurt fans with a lot of hate in their heart towards this guy Saquon, and I want to get your point of view, E. I want to get Kev's point of view, E, and then I'll kick it back to you, E. Run the show. We know the vibes, but I heard the name and I just had to jump to the topic because this is exciting. Saquon's one of the NFL's most electric players, right? And when he's healthy, he's one of the more fun players to watch. He was drafted at number 4 overall, if I'm not mistaken, 2018.
It's 3, I believe.
3 might have been 3 with the Giants took him at 3, and so here's the thing: it's like he's been in this ongoing contract negotiation process, see what next year is going to do. We'll see when we sign Daniel Jones. We'll franchise tag you for now. And he's been going through that. We know that as a running back, the lifespan is too short. The money is not guaranteed enough, and you got to do what you got to do. If he played wide receiver, would he be in Philadelphia right now? I don't know. And that's neither here nor there, so we don't need to speak hypothetically. What actually happened is the fact that the Giants felt like they didn't want to pay him money that he thought he deserved, whether that's for understandable reasons like his health concerns, the fact that he's a running back and that's a replaceable position in these days. However they felt, they came to the conclusion, we are not going to do anything more than here's the franchise tag, which the franchise tag is going to guarantee you a pretty penny. You know what I'm saying? However, it's no security as far as annual salary. So Saquon goes and negotiates with a division rival, Philadelphia Eagles. And it's not just a division rival. This might be right now in sports one of the top, but one of the top rivalries. NFC East is bad blood. They don't like each other. Philadelphia versus New York, they don't get along in basketball. They don't like each other in baseball. They don't like each other in football. And they're all division rivals across all 3 sports. So there's just a lot of tension there. They're also similar cities, if you will. Northeast, popular. All that being said, I like Saquon going to Philly. I think Saquon is doing what's best for him at this moment, which is taking the financial security and putting himself in a position to compete. Kev just said this is a Super Bowl or bust team for the Philadelphia Eagles now, especially more so now that they signed this guy. I want to hear from you guys' perspective as a fan of football. Are you fans of this signing? And then just, as far as, us being sports podcasters, we talk about the game. How do you guys feel about the signing and his impact in Philadelphia in general? I'll start with EP.
I don't like the signing. I mean, anytime that you're moving within a division, it's very sticky. It's very like cringe, as they say. I guess is probably the best term that I could use. I mean, it gives a boost to the running game, obviously, with already your option quarterback in Jalen Hurts and the wide receiving core that's there. It's a sticky signing because it's within the division. Is it a good pickup? Absolutely. I mean, Saquon Barkley is, when healthy, and I hate to use that because I hate when people use that term. I've called out certain players that are never healthy, but when healthy, he's one of the best in the league. So I mean, it's a great sign up. It's a great pickup for the Eagles, but a sticky signing within the division. Kev.
Um, I think it's one of those that it's gonna be a wait and see. Um, just off first read of like Philly signed Saquon Barkley, it's like, wow, that's a great pickup. But you look at his production over the last year, and he's been declining steadily. And that's just been the norm for running backs. He's 27 years old. He, by the way, was the second pick in the draft from the Giants. As far as the health, he's only had one season where he's played single digit games. So beyond that, he's played at least 13 games. Other than the 2020 season where he only played two, he played at least 13 games every season. So I don't think the health concern is as much of a concern as people are making it out to be in terms of his previous health. I think that more stems from the fact that he is a running back, and there's a greater chance for a running back to get hurt as they touch the ball more than any other skill position in the game. So I think it's going to be one of those wait and see. I did see a funny tweet with the Adam Silver, get ready to learn Chinese, but it was get ready to learn how to tush push. So I think Saquon being back there for Jalen Hurts, he's
He's
strong.
squat. Them boys are squatters now.
So
They
he's
squatters.
that tush push is going to be even more indefensible. So good luck on 4th and 1, 4th and 2
Yeah.
to opposing defenses with Saquon pushing Jalen Hurts across the line. I think it's all going to come down to the offense, though. Like a read option with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, I think could be deadly. But it's gonna be wait and see. We sometimes see these guys sign with places and we think they're going to be used a certain way, and they are not used that way that we would think that they would be used. So I think it's going to come down to that. How does Philadelphia plan on using him? How do they intend on using him? While also making sure that they preserve his health.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be, if not the most important part, is how they use like his usage. And I know that you said he has played 13 games, at least. The concern for injury, it does go to the point, like you said, where he is a running back. They touch the ball a lot, but you know, 13 games is a lot. But there's still, there's still though. I think for the Giants specifically, him missing the games he had to miss for that team hurts and it looks worse. That's kind of what it was. Like if he missed 4 games for last year's Philadelphia Eagles team, I don't think that it's so bad, right? It's like we'll get him back and playoffs will be here. But when you're on the Giants and you draft this running back at number 2 overall, you of course they're going to use him all season. And of course he's not going to, be able to outlast not having a guy like AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Jalen Hurts on your team in a defense filled with guys like Brandon Graham and Jalen Carter and Darius Slay. You know what I mean? So, Kevin, looks like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just based off of what you said, with when you draft a guy that high at running back, of course you're gonna use him. That seems to be the trend at this point. Like you draft a running back, if you draft him high in the first round, even if you just draft a running back,
Yeah.
and you draft him in the first, second, wherever you draft him, they're getting abused, and it gets to the point you see Tony Pollard just signed with Tennessee. There's several running backs who came off their rookie contract and are now with other teams because the team that they played for has used them and they're discarding them before they have to pay them top dollar. So that just seems like the cycle of running backs is the way that the market goes.
Ain't that some nasty work right there? Ain't that some nasty
If
work?
I may, look, I got 2 cousins who, one, I love dearly. Shout out to Lou, shout out to Carlos. They both live in Pennsylvania, right? So they're Pennsylvania native. They're from New York, right? They're from New York, raised in Pennsylvania, born, living in Pennsylvania. They're still Giants fans, and they've been Giants fans through and through, and I respect them for that. Like to live in the greater Philadelphia area and not like that team or any Philadelphia team, it takes guts. I live in New York City. I'm a Heat fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. The Red Sox Yankees thing is not as overblown as it once was in time. The Heat Knicks thing is kind of brewing more so now that the Knicks are getting competitive or have gotten competitive. But it's still nothing like I'd imagine walking into a Walmart with a fucking Daniel Jones jersey on in the middle of Philadelphia. Like that's scary. So I commend them for sticking strong through their fanhood. With that being said, Lou, avid watcher of the show, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, this is the mastermind behind all of the setup. The beauty you see and the cosmetics behind the All Things Sports podcast is a big credit to Lou. So shout out to you for that. He told me stay the fuck out his DMs today because I tried to talk to him about the Saquon situation. So I did. That doesn't mean I can't address him here. You heard what we just said and how we felt about Saquon going. We didn't give too much about the rivalry and what matters and what doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that the Giants, I'm going to say it again. I did say this in your DM, but I'm going to say this again. The Giants had an opportunity to sign Saquon Barkley for the fair amount of money that he felt was needed, for the contributions he's already put in, for the low workload he's put in, and for what's to come in the following years. Daniel Jones was picked maybe, I don't know, 7th, 9th, whatever the case was that year.
Too early.
And you guys made your decision. You guys said Daniel Jones is our quarterback. He had 3 horrible years, 4, I think, and then comes in his 4th year, I think it was, and has a great season. And I won't use the word fluke because the team isn't great. The offensive line is far from good. But Daniel Jones has shown you as good as it's going to get. You guys paid him, didn't pay Saquon, and now you guys don't even want Daniel Jones. You got to just, like, at that point, Saquon being from Pennsylvania, going to school in Penn State, having kids in the Philadelphia area, or nephews and nieces in the greater Philadelphia area, and all his family being Eagles fans, it kind of makes sense. And I understand how big of the rivalry it is, but if you want to be this guy, and I'm not saying Saquon is, if you want to be the guy that really sticks it to someone, this is a great opportunity to stick it to the Giants because the Eagles are a better team. They're going to be a better team for time. He's in a better position right now. He has more opportunity. Why wouldn't he want to be like, okay, it's fuck me, it's fuck y'all? You know what I'm saying? We've seen Johnny Damon go to the Reds, to the Yankees. We've seen Jacoby Ellsbury rob the Yankees for that contract. But it's happened. And this isn't the first. It's not the last time. And I think it's just a little uncalled for guys like Tiki Barber, who Hall of Fame running back, has such a great legacy in his league to, like, you're dead to me. And I get it. It's not like it's super personal where it's, well, no, it is personal. But it's not like he's disrespecting him. He's just saying, hey, it is what it is. You chose up. Cool.
Well, and keep in mind also the Giants, or the deal was Saquon, go test the open market, come back to us with the offer that you plan on accepting, and we will see if we want to match it. The Giants didn't even make an offer to Saquon. So granted, it was higher than they intended to go. So yeah, what are we going to make an offer?
Saquon saw the offer, said, yeah, the Giants ain't finna pay me this. I'm finna.
So Giants had a chance to keep him if they really wanted to, but they chose not to match the offer that Philly gave him.
My other cousin has kids, 2 boys and 3 boys, and they all got Saquon jerseys in the house. He said he's burning them all. He said, I've never burned a jersey, but I will be burning it. I'm not gonna say exactly what he said on his quote, but he said, I will be burning this jersey, da 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 da. Then he put his next post like, it's too windy today, but tomorrow. So that's all I'm saying. Shout out to my cousins, man. Speaking of cousins, I'm sorry.
Yo, speaking of cousins, Kirk Cousins coming to Atlanta. Not going to be Russ. We'll get into Russ in a second, but not going to be Mr. Russell Wilson. Mr. Kirk Cousins will travel down to play at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, 4 years, $180 million contract. It's like damn near $100 million in guarantees over these next couple of years. So Kirk gets another bag. What should this wide receiver core, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, what kind of expectations and what should they expect to get from, a tenured quarterback like Kirk Cousins, Kev?
I mean, so yeah, it is $100 million guaranteed. So shout out to Kirk Cousins' agent for working that magic for a, what did we say, he was 35-year-old quarterback coming off a torn Achilles. That's an impressive. That's impressive to be able to work that deal.
You like that?
Yeah. He does. He does. I saw I saw somebody said that all his agent had to do was walk in and show Desmond Ritter tape. So, so
Hey, look, this is what you got right now, bro. I don't know.
but I mean, so the thing with the Falcons is they have all this young talent on all these rookie contracts. And usually it's the other way around, right? Where the quarterback is on the rookie contract and you try to build around that while you have, everybody else that you're paying and your quarterback is on the rookie contract and you're trying to keep. But this is the reverse. And so
Thanks.
it's a situation that I feel like we're gonna see how it works out. But you have Drake London, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Kyle Pitts, you have a pretty good offensive line in Atlanta. And so it's like they really have been a quarterback away. And now you go and you get your quarterback. I think he fits in perfectly in Atlanta. And I don't mean the team, I mean the culture in
I was
Atlanta.
gonna say the culture. You mean like the
Yes.
culture?
Yes. I mean, just I think Kirk Cousins is fit for Atlanta. I think Atlanta will embrace Kirk Cousins. So I mean, I like it. I like it overall. I'm not sure if he'll be ready to start the season or at least training camp coming off the torn Achilles. But I mean, that he's going to air it out. And I think that's what they've been missing. Kyle Pitts has been disappointing. Drake London has been up and down, a little inconsistent, but I think he's shown that he has that ability to be a number one receiver in the league. And Bijan Robinson, I love Bijan Robinson coming into when they well, I think we talked about it last year after the draft. I love Bijan Robinson. I hated that pickup because there were other areas that I felt they needed. And now I think they've addressed other areas, and I think that they're ready to put the quarterback behind center that they need. And I think Kirk could be that guy. And I'm excited to see what that offense has the potential to be a top 5 offense next year.
Yeah. It's real dynamic. That's the word I use for their offense. Like, you can really use every inch of the grass because you got a guy like Bijan Robinson who's, sideline to sideline, very elusive, one cut back, can catch the ball out of the backfield and be a good blanket for Kirk, who's not your athletic quarterback. You have a guy who, like Kev said, we can see being a number one receiver, which, by the way, we'll mark it tonight. Today's the 11th. I'm going to call Drake London having double-digit touchdowns. I think he's a double-digit touchdown type of receiver. And with the right quarterback in his corner, I think Kirk Cousins understands and will abuse that when they're comfortable. So look for Michael. I said Michael Pittman. That's funny. Look for shout out to Michael Pittman. Drake London to get double-digit touchdowns, and then Kyle Pitts will be the guy that's just everywhere. And I think Kirk Cousins, being a guy who, I mean, we just saw T.J. Hawkinson come in this league and tear it up, right? That doesn't happen without a Kirk Cousins type guy. Like, Kirk Cousins is not the only quarterback that incorporates the tight end, but Kirk Cousins loves to go to a tight end, especially one that's athletic, one that can provide the help for him getting open. Kyle Pitts is a mismatch nightmare. And unfortunately, I don't think that his coaches have put him in the best position along with poor quarterback play. That's kind of been the downfall to his side of things. But man, it is going to be a dynamic offense. They have Jesse Bates. We saw all pro last year on defense. Like, they got some guys on that defensive side too that they win the right games, and this could be a playoff team real quick. Like, Tampa Bay, I just mentioned, they're going to be a competitive team in the NFC, and they're going to be a competitive team obviously in that division, and they should win that division. I got Tampa Bay winning the division based on what I saw last year, based on continuity, things like that. But I do believe this Atlanta team, if they find their stride, they can definitely give that division a run for its money.
My biggest question around them signing Kirk is it makes me question even more why not hire Bill Belichick. Because if you could have had that on that side of the ball, which I'm assuming you have these conversations on who you're intending to at least go after in free agency. If you know that you're going to go after a guy like Kirk Cousins and really solidify that side of the offense, really solidify that side of the football, and you bring in a guy like Bill Belichick to run your defense, you would imagine that's you're in a great spot there. So I think the signing of Kirk Cousins has more elevated my question on why did you choose Raheem Morris instead of Bill Belichick?
I mean, and I'll never be able to like super argue against you because you're right. He is the guy who they let go, they got back. So I get it. However, he is a respectable, good defensive coach. So, maybe that was I'm just trying to play devil's advocate and maybe look at it through their vision. Like, well, we do have a dynamic offense. We are going to sign Kirk Cousins. Raheem Morris can be the guy for our defense. And it has to be what they believe. You know what I mean? At this point, you're not going to just hire for no reason. You're not going to make a hire that you're not sure about. So they probably feel a lot of conviction in the hire. And then the other part about it is that it's Bill Belichick at the end of the day, right? So you don't know I don't know what that comes with. What is he asking for? What does he want? What does he see for the team? Is he going to be the old grouch? We got a young, dynamic team. You know what I mean? We can't be stunting anybody's growth here. We saw what Kirk Cousins was able to do with Justin Jefferson and, like I mentioned, TJ Hawkinson. Like, I just don't know that Bill Belichick at his big age, like the hoes say, it would necessarily fit. I don't think he fits the Atlanta vibe for shit. I'll say that. Kirk Cousins, he get the check. I don't know about Bill Belichick, but it should be fun. It should be fun. And then going back to your point, Kev, I thought it was interesting that you pointed it out with them playing the rookie contracts with the quarterback with the big contract as opposed to the quarterback that just got here. I think it's a benefit to the players who are on their rookie deals because you have a guy who's proven in this league. Kirk Cousins, as much as you could, I tried to hate Kirk Cousins. I'm not going to lie. Like, I tried to hate on him a few years ago. I didn't like playing him in Madden. Like, I didn't like playing with him. He's a good quarterback. The man makes really great throws. Yeah, the prime time thing was a thing, and we'll see how that finishes. But he's a responsible quarterback who makes good decisions and makes your team better. We've seen that year in and year out. So having young guys like Bijan, Kyle, Drake London, I think it's very beneficial for them. And shout out to SP in the chat. It's 4 people watching right now to stream. So shout out to everybody who's watching, tapping in right now with us. SP's in the chat talking about he said that he I lost the chat, but he was saying he liked the Minnesota move. Minnesota move. EP, get the chat right. What's the word on the chat?
I don't know if those were bars. They said Wild and Minnesota. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but shout out to Strix.
Oh, he said I'm late, but shout out to the Vikings for the big move. Wild. Okay, so unless we missed something, and this is the part of the show where shit start getting funny. We start reading comments, and look, it's already 6 people in here now. We have 4 people in here. Shit's starting to get a little active. So shout out to Christian, bro. He said Cousins is banking the ATL for sure. 100 million guaranteed, 180. It's crazy. 35 years old, but I'm not hating. I'm done hating on Kirk Cousins. I'm done. I at this point, I want to see him win the division. Like, go up against head to toe Baker Mayfield, beat him twice, and win the division. Let's do it. EP live in Atlanta. We going to a game. Let's do it. That's the new team. That's the new hype right there. We out.
Yeah, I know we're talking off camera. We're gonna see a Kirk Cousins Patty Mahomes game this year. Take the over. Listen, if you're watching this right now and you remember this, the exact schedule is not out yet, but the opponent and the location is. It will be at Mercedes-Benz Dome. Take the over in that game. I'll talk to you guys when that game happens, right? Let's take a trip up to, a little more north, right? Russell Wilson. We just talked about Atlanta, somewhere he won't be, but he will be living in the greater Allegheny County area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He will be a Steeler for the veteran minimum of $1.2 million on a 1-year deal. Do not forget, Denver is still paying him $38 million this coming season, eating up that contract. Is he adding to the winning culture in Pittsburgh? Because Mike Tomlin is a 9-8 team off the rip. He's over 500. Is he adding to this culture right now, June?
I think he is. I don't like, as much as anybody wants to fool on Russell Wilson and say this, that, and the third. He did have 2 down years. His career was, I think we might have seen the best of Russell Wilson. However, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, this is a guy who put up numbers so fast and so efficient that we looked at it and we were like, we had to start comparing him to all the greats before him. Like, oh, fastest in 4 years to do this, that, and the third. Oh, playoff wins. Ask him or ask about it. Russ has done it. I think the problem when he went to Denver is that maybe he was too in over his head in Seattle. Maybe things got too good for him, so that when everything changed and he goes to Denver, he's expecting, like this treatment, right? And fair, like you're the star quarterback, you're making all that money they just paid you or they owe you. You're gonna have some sort of an ego, but I don't think the culture was where it needed to be in Denver. I think that the culture in Pittsburgh historically is already in place, right? There's like a historic culture in Pittsburgh where you go to the Steelers and it's hard nosed, smash mouth, play for your brother, sacrifice your body, do the right thing type of culture. Within the last couple years, have things changed? Have players in the locker room made comments about other players and how they think that when they put this orange, this yellow and black on, they just go out there and get it? No, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. And so with the mix of the culture, the coaches here, the players for the most part, they're all bought in. This is something we have. There might be a couple, screws that are loose. There might be a little air coming out the tire, but we plug that up during the off season and get ready for next season. A big need of ours is a quarterback, though. And who better than a man of character, a man of winning culture, a man who has been through adversity, has dealt with the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows, even at his highest. I mean, this is a quarterback who threw a game-losing interception at the 1 yard line. He'll always have to live that down. But I think that speaks to who he is and who he can be to have success even after that. So I do think Russell Wilson comes in here and adds to that culture that's already there and does impact winning from the locker room out.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's a tough division, right? And I think the team that is quietly winning the offseason so far is in that division in Cleveland. And so that's one. You got to play that defense. You got to play the Ravens defense twice. That's 4 games that is tough. He talked about locks. I want to talk about a lock because Russell Wilson gets to go back to Denver this year and beat
Oh
the
God.
Broncos. So make sure whatever you do, you take the Steelers money line for that game. Um, I something about revenge games against Sean Payton that tickle me a little bit. Pause. So, but yeah, I think as far as Russ, it's funny because last time I think the last time we were actually live, we talked about um the Steelers GM Omar Khan talking about he had full faith in Kenny Pickett, and then 10 days later,
Literally, bro.
10 days later, they bring in Russell Wilson to be their starter for the or a competition quarterback competition. I think it's
Listen, we still got faith in Kenny.
yeah, I think we all know it's
There's no
Russell's going to be the
competition.
starter.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think it's good for the young receivers. Like I think that whole offense was very young. You had young receivers who are the most entitled receivers who do the least in the league, and Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. So if anybody is going to come in and get them right, it's a guy like Russ who can teach them accountability, show them leadership firsthand what it is, and kind of bring that culture back that Ben Roethlisberger was talking about. He doesn't see it anymore. He doesn't see it there. And I think they need that veteran leadership from a guy like Russell Wilson to bring that back because those two receivers there, I've never seen receivers go out and show that they're not trying. Like for a ball to be on the ground and a receiver to look at it and not even dive or not even run towards it, just to walk is crazy to me. He would have been off. He would have been inactive for the rest of the season if I was in charge of that team. So I think they need a guy like Russ. They need that veteran leadership there, and I think he's the perfect guy of the guys who were available. And
And I
made
and I must say, and I think I could speak for Kev here. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about culture. We're talking about impacting winning. We're not talking about success. I think it's two different things. I think that this is the best, not necessarily the best guy for the job, because there are better quarterbacks. Like if they had a number one pick, or if they were able to sign Kirk Cousins. However, with what is available and what they have right now, I think that they put themselves in the best position to be successful next year. It's going to come down to wins and losses, really. It's tough, like Kev said. Playing those three defenses in that division is 6 games right there. That's 6 games right there that you just hope, you hope to split. Realistically, you hope to split 3-3. And to hope to split is a little, it says a lot about, it says more about your division and, your team, because, we have a couple competitive divisions in this league, but this one is very much like there's going to be a team that deserves to be in the playoffs that probably won't make it this year. So just to finalize everything, I can't promise Russell Wilson's going to find the most success in Pittsburgh, but I think that with their culture that they have, with his knowledge and skill, it just makes for a good match, and them always going over 500 regardless, helps. Let him do a little bit more, get you guys to the playoffs, hopefully win a playoff game. That's what Pittsburgh fans want. Allegheny County, like you said.
Allegheny County, shout out to PA.
No, shout out to you for knowing that.
Shout out to EP, facts.
Hey, shout out to Mac Miller, because that's the only reason.
Hey, shout out to Wiz.
Yeah, I mean?
Shout out to Taylor Alderdice, man. Shout out to Pittsburgh, man.
Shout out to Pittsburgh, as they say.
412 gang, man. Stop playing.
Oh man, we'll take it down south.
Hey Kev, last time we was talking about Kenny Pickett, I had the Pittsburgh Pirates hat on. Where we going, E?
Down south to the Trail 5, because any chance that Kev gets to shit on a division rival.
Hey, I got a joke. It's a very old joke. It reminds me of my uncle. You're gonna know it's old because it's a Kmart joke. Nobody goes to Kmart's not even a thing. What do birds say when they're flying over Kmart? Cheap, 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 cheap. Right? All right, cool. Whatever. Stupid joke. But the joke has transitioned. Either the joke has transitioned, or the former location of what once was Kmart in Miami Gardens is now either Hard Rock Stadium or their practice facility, because what's going on, and why don't they want to spend any money on any of their good players, and why have they lost out on so much opportunity in the first 7 to 9 hours of free agency? What's going on? Like that's my question if we talk about the Dolphins, because cheap ain't the word.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's going on is they have an expensive quarterback to be that they need to free up some cap space for and keep some cap space open, because they're going to be paying that man, especially with the deal that Kirk Cousins just signed. They're going to be paying that man $50 million a year. So
that's the starting rate for a quarterback, man. That's what it starts at.
For a good starting quarterback, like for a game changing, in my opinion, right? Like
$50 million. Yeah,
I don't care.
It's a $50 million a year league right now for a starting quarterback.
Yeah, no, but Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts.
I mean, yeah, when we're talking about these starting quarterbacks, we're talking about
that's what Kev's getting at right here with, like, this is Tua.
So Julian just talked about the reason the Giants lost Saquon, because they had to pay Daniel Jones, or not because they had to, because they chose to pay Daniel Jones. This is the situation that the Dolphins are about to put themselves in, where they're about to sign Tua to a very big deal and realize after this season, you're not that guy, pal. You're not the guy that commands a $50 million salary. You're more, you deserve more than Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones also doesn't deserve what he got. So we're going to be sitting here next year at this time, and we're going to be talking about the Dolphins having to trade Tyreek Hill, or having to trade Jalen Waddle, or having to let somebody else go who matters to the team, because they paid all this money. And now the contract's going to start next year, where they're going to pay him $50 million a year. And I mean, I love it.
Personally. Hey, usually I laugh and I be here like, I can't contain his laugh right now. Usually I'm, Kev's on his bullshit, he's on his jet shit. This is real shit. He's talking. This is no bias of any fan base. This is Kev literally doing an evaluation of what the Dolphins have going on and what they are gonna put themselves into once they give Tua that money. And I'm having a hard time trying to find an argument here because when you say $50 million, bro, for my quarterback, bro, my quarterback better be an MVP candidate and he better have us in the championship game. Like, and obviously that's the perfect world. Shit happens in the playoffs, shit happens throughout the season health wise. But I don't want to give $50 million to a quarterback that I don't even know can get me there. You know what I'm saying?
At least Daniel Jones won a playoff game before they gave him that contract. Tua
Hey,
hasn't
man,
even
talk
done that.
about it, bro. Talk about it, bro. I mean, yeah, talk about it. Like, it's not a lot of defense for Tua, and I like Tua. I think Tua is a great quarterback. I think he is a Pro Bowl quarterback. I think he can dominate games, right? But I would not put him in the Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson tier. Maybe below that, and then when we start looking at the second tier, where would we rank him on that second tier? So it's a little tricky when we're talking about $50 million. Like that's a lot of money. I want the chat to see what they say about that.
And it's not even just that, right? Like we saw so and I said it early in the season, like when we saw the Wildcat offense come into the league and the way it was effective the first year, and then the second year, the league kind of caught up to it. That whole pre-snap motion offense got not figured out, but it was contained a lot more in the second half of the season than it was in the first half. Once you start getting film on things and things like that, the league starts to figure you out. So this year is going to happen where they're going to need to put up the same number of points, which I don't think they can, because their defense has gotten considerably worse. You lost Christian Wilkins, you lost Andrew Van Ginkel, you lost Brandon Jones so far.
You're not going to have Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb probably for a little bit.
You lost Robert Hunt off your offensive line. You have lost 4 key players so far. There could be more that they lose.
And they cut Xavier Howard.
So we're like, Jonnu Smith is solving your problems? That's your answer, is Jonnu Smith at the tight end? I just literally saw a headline, Dolphins hope Jonnu Smith can solve their woes. What? Like, what? What are we doing? So I don't know, man. It's crazy to me. I love it. I love watching it. I'll watch it this is must-see TV for me, is the Dolphins' demise. And I'll be tuned in all season.
I'm not gonna lie, Dolphins' demise is crazy. I don't think they've built themselves up to have a demise. However, I'll let you get that off. I think the Dolphins has just been floating. They got like, we're getting there. We're Tua. Where's Tua gonna get us? Is it gonna go here or here? It is tricky, bro. Look, the Dolphins, like, remember how I was talking about the Eagles, and I don't think they're Super Bowl like or bust. I do think the Eagles are gonna have a better season than the Dolphins. Where it stands right now, like how I see the Dolphins losing their key guys and what they haven't signed yet. Forgive me, it's Thursday. It's the first day of free agency, so by the NFL season, I'll have a better opinion. But the way it's looking is like this team doesn't look like they're going to compete. Like, obviously, they're going to be good, but compete seriously in the playoffs? Tricky. Kev was mentioning this pre-snap motion stuff with the Dolphins. That all came from San Francisco. That all came from Mike McDaniel. And San Francisco can't win a Super Bowl. And they run the same off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a winning formula, and it is because it's a super successful regular season success. It's a quick play, get the ball out, find the playmaker. It works. But to Kev's point, it does get figured out. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to be able to protect your quarterback. I think that the Chiefs did a great job of, getting to Brock Purdy and making him uncomfortable in the second half of that game. But it is a little worrisome if I'm a Dolphins fan to see how cheap they're being because of a little bit of force, right? Like front office wants the quarterback because, all right, I know I'm rambling at this point, but you got to sit back and think, what do the Dolphins do? They put themselves in this position when they drafted Tua. He's a guy who's a lefty. He's an undersized quarterback. He can't throw 70 yards, which is fine. I think he can still throw a deep ball. But you understand that when you drafted him, there were certain things that we'd have to work around. Those workarounds and the health issue have been a little challenging. Now you're at a point where he hasn't proven much. He's proven that he can throw the ball. He's proven that he can be a great quarterback. He can command an offense. He can take over a game. But a season, put you in a playoff and win,
And
what we're forced to make a blind decision right now, and we have to make the pay him decision, because who else is going to play quarterback for us?
well, to your point, you just mentioned it. We see the 49ers offense in that system. And granted, they have
Anybody can play quarterback for their team.
they got to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. They got to a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. The Dolphins, with that same system, put up 31 and lost by 3 in the playoffs with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. I'm not saying that Tua is that bad, but he's also not Joe Burrow. He's not Pat Mahomes. You don't have to pay him this kind of money. If I'm the Dolphins GM, if I'm Chris Greer, which thank goodness I'm not, because my God,
tough. That's a tough conversation right there.
but if I'm Chris Greer, it's like, we can pay you this, and we're very comfortable paying you this amount of money, and if you will take that, you get no state tax here in Florida, so you're making a little bit more than you'd make elsewhere, and we can compete for years. If you can't take that, if you need more money, then we'll look into trading you, and we'll look into.
But Joe Burrow, motherfucking Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. God damn it! Start throwing papers and shit. Like, nah, hold on. You talking crazy, Tua? And I feel you, Kev. It is. The Dolphins should feel like the ball is in their court more so than like Tua has the leverage here. Tua has leverage because he's a quarterback and he's a winning quarterback. At the end of the day, he took him to the playoffs. And he has had 2 very good regular seasons. Throughout that, there's been up and down. There have been injury scares. There have been, is Tua going to be able to do it? There's been, he's making too many mistakes. And so that's the leverage that the Dolphins got to pull. Like, yo, look, you need help, right? Like, we can't afford to pay you and then trade Tyreek Hill. Like, you need Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? So, like, be real. But again, it's a tough conversation. It's going to, I also think if the Dolphins were to take that approach, they would probably come out victorious in that negotiation, because this is me speaking highly on Tua's character, who he is as a person. And I don't think Tua's in the game for the money. You know, I think Tua definitely knows what he deserves. I think Tua definitely wants to put his family in his best financial, stability, generational wealth as possible. And I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, I think Tua is a competitor. I think he's a winner. I think he's a good man. And I think that he would understand if that was the narrative or the conversation in the front office. Like, I could go somewhere else and just get the bag. But Miami's a home to me. Miami is full of talent on offense. We have a good coach. We're close. We're not there yet, but we're close. If we just play better, we can get there, And so I think there's a possibility where maybe the Dolphins can work down a deal, but it's going to be tough because, as EP started this off with, it's a quarterback. It's a $50 million, role that you're paying right there.
And he is not like that. Sir, you are not him. All right. All right. That's it for NFL free agency for right now. And that was
he is stressed out for us.
I just don't. It's a very interesting point that you made, Kev. Like, what are you going to do? Are you actually going to pay him that money when he doesn't deserve that money, and then be effed next year and the year after that when you got these big cap hits that you're about to take because of his contract, or are you just honest and grown up with him and you tell him, hey, based on your production and what you've done, we're going to take the mean. We're not going to take the really good, and we're not going to take the really bad. We're going to take the mean. And the mean says you should be getting paid about this, and that's about that. And if they can have that conversation with him and he can be a grown-up about it, we'll see.
And to be fair, he had a great season this year. He led the league in passing yards, but that also comes with the fact that they were able to have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Watt and I'm sorry,
And that's
Jalen
part of the
Waddle and
conversation that context has to make sense of everything. Like, we're not here trashing Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sure if you pull the clip up, like if we play this back, it's gonna sound like a lot of hate. It's gonna sound like that, I'm sure. But a real fan, that person that watches the game, shout to Canelo, what up, my boy? A real one would understand that it's more than just, you know, is the guy good, right? Tua's good. He's a good quarterback ain't gonna win you a Super Bowl. That's proven. You need more.
The question is, would you pay Jared Goff $50 million?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Don't put me on the spot like that. I might say yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I might say yeah, because Jared Goff, for what it's worth, went to the Lions and took them where they went.
But it's just, my point is,
I get it. That's why I was just like, fuck.
That's more the lane that I would say Tua's in.
Yeah.
Like, if Tua had we just saw Pat Mahomes win with, granted he has Travis Kelce, but beyond that, what does he have in terms of skill positions? Like,
Tua doesn't go to the Chiefs and take them to the Super Bowl. 100%. Right. I get that. And Jared Goff wouldn't either. So I get what you're saying. It's more that realm. And hey, 39 a year is a lot of money.
34
50 is a great number. But like 30, you know what I'm saying? 37, 36. That's a fair number too, bro. Like, you're not getting taxed.
And you're in Miami at that point, man. You know what the vibes are. You know what,
like, we're trying to make it home, man. You could buy the nicest crib anywhere in this motherfucking city. Just sign.
And we'll keep it in Miami. We'll take it a little further south than the Hard Rock Stadium. We'll take it down to downtown Miami and the Casilla Center. That shit, AAA. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, where the Heat have lost 3 straight, blown 2 15-point leads, lost to the Washington Wizards. June is quoted on Twitter by calling it unserious basketball. June, this week's Heat check. What's going on in Miami right now, bud? And you're still on mute.
I'm glad. I honestly was saying it's like I had nothing to say. So whether I was muted or not, you ain't miss anything. I'm more so trying to think of how, like, it's like I thought we were past this. You know what I mean? Like I thought we got over this kind of thing. Like, all right. You know, I like my analogies. It's like you get into an argument with your chick, right? She bring up some old shit. And you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to ruin the night. I get it. You're right, babe. You're right. Boom. Next week come around, same old argument want to come back up. Y'all having a good night. Y'all having such a good night. Y'all had a good weekend. It's Sunday night. Y'all had a good weekend. Matter of fact, Sunday was good. It's Monday after work. Now she want to bring up old shit again. It's like, damn, babe. Like I thought we talked about this. I thought we discussed that wasn't even the situation. That we're good. We just had a good weekend. Why are we going back? Like, why you want to? Let's talk about the future, babe. Like, when you trying to get married? You know what I'm saying? And with this Heat team, I can't feel comfortable. I can't. I was just getting in my groove of things. I'm ready to start dialing up the playoff feeling. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's getting there. We 20 games left kind of thing, almost less. 20 games or so. And it's not just losing to the Wizards that's unserious. That's probably the worst loss all season. You're at home versus the worst team in the league. There's no excuse. But you start this on a road trip where you go to Dallas on a Thursday night, and you have the lead for the most part of the game, and you let Luka just 30-point triple-double. Like, I get it. Luka has 6 straight or so 30-point triple-doubles. It's not much stopping him. But how do you lose a 15-point lead? You know, this is just something so normal. Like, I feel like Kev can relate because we're Heat fans, where it's like, I saw a tweet, and this was exactly how it is. And I know Kev would retweet it if you've seen it. I'm more comfortable watching a close game than us up by 10 to 15 points. And that's not cool. That's not cool. It's not okay. Doesn't make me feel good to say that. No, if we're up 10 to 15 points, we should win this game. We should have command. We should be confident that we're going to get through the third quarter. We're going to finish it out in the fourth, and we're going to play defense through and through with pride. Shots are going to fall. But no, 2 back-to-back games. Then Friday night, Kevin and I were actually together. I was in Broward. Thankfully, God is good. I got to see EP. I got to see Kev. Separate occasions, but nonetheless, we got a couple hours together. And EP, it was on some casino shit. EP's Kev, what I'm saying, we went to their 5 Reasons Sports watch party. Shout out to 5 Reasons Sports, Ethan Skolnick, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, all them boys. I met Giancarlo from Miami Heat beat. So shout out to them boys, man. I've been, tuned in 2017, 2018 type shit. That's where I like to see my information. So I had to pull up to the watch party, and I shouldn't have, because I knew that it was a 5 Reasons Sports watch party, and 5 Reasons Sports throws watch parties, and they don't like to win. When the Heat don't like to win when Ethan hosts a party. So Ethan, figure some shit out or stop throwing watch parties. I enjoyed myself at the party, so you don't have to. But if it's a good game, if it's a crucial game or one we need, just hold off to the next one. Or just do them early in the season, right? But back to the actual game on Friday, it's like, man, we're playing so well first half. Like, Jaime Jaquez, like, we wasted the Terry Rozier game on Thursday, and then Jaime Jaquez comes and has an amazing game on Friday night versus arguably the league MVP, Shai Gilgeous. We're up 17, 15, 17, 14, 15. And we come out of halftime flatter than a fucking tire with a nail in it. Like, can't make a shot, can't get a stop. And by the time you know it, the announcer's like, wow, they're on a 13-0 run. Wow, they're on a 15-0 run. Wow, 17 unanswered. Bro, the game is tied now. And we're just missing shots, taking bad shots, letting them get to the rim. All right, you know what? It's OKC. This is one of the better teams in the league, which the Miami Heat don't fare well against. I was making fun of the Knicks. Over 500 teams, their record is pretty bad. Miami's record against over 500 teams and competitive championship-looking teams is not good at all. So it's concerning. We let up that lead, can't get it back. Can't get it back. It's from here. It's grits. We stayed in the game. It was competitive. They played with pride, but Shai Gilgeous came down the stretch, couldn't miss a shot, making the right plays. Last night, I didn't watch the game. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't watch the game last night. I watched some of Thursdays. I watched, and then I saw the highlights. Then I saw Friday's game. Last night, versus the Wizards. For good reason. I wasn't home. I was out wherever I was. And I figured, I could keep up with this Wizards Heat game on. Oh, I was traveling. That's why I was like, where was I? I was traveling back home here to New York. So keeping up with the game on my phone. I'm like, all right, we winning. All right. Now I get on the airplane, or like I was in the airport and I put it on for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, now we starting to lose this lead. I'm like, okay, it's like 88 up. All right. I mean, Jimmy will close it out. Something, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the fucking Wizards. I'm not going to act like I thought we were going to lose to the Wizards. I did not. Couldn't finish the game. For whatever reason, I'm not, like I said, I didn't finish watching the game. I didn't get to see every possession down the stretch. But for whatever reason, Kyle Kuzma goes off for 30 plus, and we lose to the Wizards. I don't care how we did it. The fact that we lost to the Wizards at home is very unserious. And so 3-game losing streak, 2 playoff teams. One of them is the worst team. And it just makes me feel like, damn, this is where we were like in the middle of February when we couldn't get shit going, when we lost 7 straight. Like, and obviously it's very deflating as a fan. I don't think that the Heat as a team are deflated. I don't think that they have the mindset they had in February. I think that this is a different team and a different mindset with this group. But it's just with the playoffs so close is a little too close for comfort, and it's very concerning as far as what we're going to get out of this Miami Heat team. This is a team that last year went to the play-in, lost the first game, and then is losing by like 9 points with 3 minutes left, and Jimmy had to go crazy. And then we see the magic. I can't bank on us having that magical playoff run. We need to be able to get the games we have to win. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's Heat check for me. I would like to hear Kev's thoughts on any Heat related topics, whatever. Here's the floor.
So I'm not worried. I know a lot of Heat fans are, but if we can just look back at the last two March, I'm only going two because I'm doing since Jimmy's here, and obviously the bubble was interrupted. So last two Marches of the last two seasons, you go 7-8 in March, have that blow up with Jimmy and Spo and Udonis on the bench, get one shot, one Jimmy missed three away from the NBA Finals, probably their best shot at winning a championship. I think if they go against Golden State, they win that championship. Last season, March, they go 8-7. Not a great March. Not a up and down, a very up and down season, much like this one has been. But March again, 8-7, 500, borderline 500, and like you said, you get to the play-in, and you lose the first game, and then you down against Chicago in the second play-in, and Max Strus has a big game, Jimmy has a big fourth quarter, and they come back and win that game. So, and then go on that run to the finals. So, I think that being said, I think this roster is better than the last two seasons. When you got Terry Rozier starting at your point
I
guard,
agree.
Terry Rozier starting point guard over Kyle Lowry or Gabe Vincent. The way Duncan's been playing this year, he's been better than Max Strus has been.
I will say Gabe Vincent was a key.
Oh, I noticed.
And I hope Terry can be that guy. He certainly can.
I love Gabe Vincent, but I don't think there's a question, especially offensively, what Terry brings to what Gabe brings. And I think Gabe Vincent hit big shots for us. I think he made big plays for us, and he was a pest on defense, which I love. And that's Miami Heat basketball. But Terry's been great on defense as well since he's been here. He's active. He's moving his feet. He's being where he needs to be. So I'm not worried. Like we're 5 games into March and we're 2-3. We're right on that pace. And we play Denver tomorrow at home. And I'm telling you right now, that is a game that is in typical Miami Heat fashion. When everything is looking down and you just lose to the Wizards, you come in, you got Denver, the defending champions, who you just lost to last week, who you lost to in the finals last year, coming in to your house. I think they win that game. And so yeah, I'm not worried. Even if they do lose to Denver tomorrow, I'm still not worried. If we get to a point where we're back in the play,
5 straight losses, then you get worried.
I mean, yeah, basically, like because we have 2 back-to-back against Detroit. If we drop back-to-back games against Detroit, then okay, something's going on. Something's up here. Something's deeper than whatever it is. But to this point, on March 11th, I'm not worried. I think the East is still open.
100%.
And so I there's not a team in the East that I look at outside of Boston, which I still think in 7 games, Spo versus Missoula, Spo's got the edge. But yeah, so I mean, to this point, that's just how I see it. This is just March for the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler, and I think we march into the playoffs.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we cross, want to get it right, the hour 4 mark. This has been your Monday night episode of All Things Sports. If you tuned in on the live, everybody that did, we appreciate you so much. You could have been anywhere in the world on this wonderful Monday evening. Spring is finally here. We lost an hour of sleep yesterday. All of that fun stuff. Anywhere, but you're here with us. If you're tuning in after the fact in all your streaming platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, don't matter. Thank you so much for taking time out of